Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Notice of hereby given that a regular meeting of the Greenwood Board of Trustees was be held at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, April 29th, 2026 at the U.M. McDonald Community Center located at 619 Main Street, Greenwood, Nebraska. So the meeting is open to the public, is encouraged to attend. Board of Trustees reserves the right to adjourn to exec session for state status order 84-1410. Open Meeting Act is posted in the meeting room for the public confusion. Roll call. Tanya?
Here.
Stephanie?
Here.
Don here. Mark and Kevin are absent. Minutes, approval, time cards, payroll, detail reports, financials, profit loss, balance sheets. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda of the minutes, approval of time cards, payroll, detail reports, financials, profit loss, balance sheets. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call. Stephanie?
Aye.
Don, aye. Tanya?
Aye.
Water report, there was results back. They looked all good, so any questions on the water reports?
No.
Tanya?
No.
Sheriff's report, he was here last meeting. Maintenance report, Alan was here last meeting, gave a report on that. Clerk's report.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Planning zoning met, looked like, according to the minutes. They reviewed something on your ordinances, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so they don't really have anything open to meet about necessarily, so they're just gonna go step by step through the ordinances and
Perfect,
we'll come over and make sure they're all up to date.
Good. Perfect.
Moving in the right direction.
Fire and rescue, I don't know anything. You know anything?
No, they'll be going to the school here in May. Maybe so those buildings.
Gotcha.
That's good to go.
Park and Rec?
Not a whole lot to update. I said it was gonna be on the agenda, so I'll keep that brief. Want to thank Ellie and Jimmy for help with getting the park or the ball field up and running and keeping it maintained and stuff. We have received some feedback from coaches that maybe, I don't know the proper term for it, but the gravel that's on the field might be a little thin. We'll look into that, and report back. As far as Greenwood Fund Day goes, everything is on track so far. We are going to start meeting and throw in a couple special meetings here and there to get closer. When we get on the meeting.
Any questions for Park and Rec?
No, but do we have a follow-up on the contract for A-Rod with the attorney?
I haven't
Is there anything?
You're still working on that, aren't you?
No,
Contract, or did it get done?
it's done, so it can be sent to the attorney.
You have to
I
get
don't
there.
know, yeah.
Okay, I don't do.
Library?
Just wanted to mention that our internship is open for applications until through May 20th, but I'd like to start interviewing sooner. And I will be out of town for a few days in mid-May. Jan will cover for the library for me during that time. And kind of goes along with number 7, but wanted to have green light when someone put a couple of shelves in that closet when it's possible, and just wanted to let her know what steps we need to take to have that done, if that's possible. So.
Anything for library? Communications to citizens. Anyone? Okay, old business, discussion, possible action, update the planning and zoning maps.
I think that's Kevin.
Huh?
Not Kevin.
Yeah, so we'll table that till next week. New business, discussion, AMGL audit report.
Good evening. So I will start with the big bound down report that you guys have. Not going to cover all of it, just the highlights. But here the page numbers as we go along. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask them. Starting on page 2, that's the independent audit report. We had unmodified opinions. Means everything was presented fairly, no material statements, the type of opinion that we want to have each year. Jumping back to page 11, we have a list of the major capital asset conditions for the year. Spent about $30,000 on some equipment for fire and EMS, about $21,000 on the well blending tie-in, about 28,000 on the electric loop feed, and then about 38,000 on a generator. Right below that, we have the table of the village's outstanding debt at September 30th, 25. We had 494,000 of debt compared to 464,000 the year before that. Our debt increased by about 30,000, and that's just due to the $95,000 loan that we took out for the sewer repairs. Jumping back to page 15, this is the balance sheet for the governmental funds. Everything's on a cash basis, so we want to report cash, no receivables, capital assets, liabilities, none of that, it's just mid-year cash. So the general fund had total cash of 340,000. Of that, we had 24,000 that was assigned to the rescue squad, the rest of it was 316,000 that was assigned to spend their discretion. Street fund had 746,000 of cash, all restricted for street improvements. The community development agency had just over 2 million of cash, that's restricted for debt service for projects. And then those other funds include the Keno and the debt service, they had about 88,000. Actually, the debt service didn't have any cash, it was just gonna be the Keno fund at year end, they had about 88,000 restricted for community betterment. Page 16 shows the revenue and expenses for the governmental funds. The general fund had total revenue about 366,000, 271,000 of expenses, or an increase in fund balance of about 95,000. Street fund had total revenue of 280,000, had 118,000 of expenses. This fund balance increased 161,000. The community development agency fund had about 455,000 revenue, 38,000 expenses. This fund balance increased 416,000. And then to the Keno fund would have increased $4,500. Page 17 is the balance sheet for the utility funds. The electric fund had total assets or cash of 423,000. Water fund had 309,000, and the sewer fund had 243,000 cash. Page 18 is the revenue and expenses for the utility funds. The third line from the bottom shows the change in that position as opposed to the income or loss from the year. The electric fund increased 61,000. Water fund increased 31,000. It did increase basically 55,000 from operations, but we transferred 24,000 for ARPA funds from water to sewer. So it had a net increase of 31,000. And the sewer fund had an increase of 82,000. That included a $24,000 transfer of ARPA from water. Page 19 is the statement of cash flows for the utility funds. The third line from the bottom shows the increase in cash and cash equivalents. The electric fund cash reserves increased to just about 62,000. Water fund increased 55,000, and the sewer fund is up 82,000. Sewer fund had a big increase of about 95,000. So we took out a load of 95,000. We hadn't spent all of that, so that's why we kind of had a big increase there. Jumping back to page 44, just point out that it's back there. We do have detail for the general fund department, so we have a column for the general, fire, rescue, library, and parks and rec, so we show all the revenue and expenses. Any questions on any of that so far? So in addition to that, there's a couple letters that we'd issued. There's a 2-page one, says we don't have segregation of duties. Obviously, with one person in the office, we're never gonna get rid of the comment. You guys as the board just need to continue the oversight and being involved in the financial reporting. We do a good job going through the budget. I think we feel like we have good input on that. So just continue to be involved on that side of it. Then there's a 4-page letter. And on the, actually for you guys, it's 3 pages. On the last page of that, is where we were listing of our audit findings and recommendations. So the first one I have, not necessarily saying we need to increase utility rates, but always be watching those. I kind of leave that in almost all of my audits, because I always want everyone to be aware. You always got to be watching the utility rates. Once you get behind on them, it's really hard to get caught up. So you always want to monitor those and increase them as we need to. And then the second one, when we heard for the audit, and it was just before Thanksgiving, we still had the old clerk treasurer listed on the bank accounts. So anytime we have a change in personnel, we just need to get those updated right away. Other than that, the audit went really smooth with the transition. Darlene still did a nice job. It was a pretty clean audit for us. The last thing I'll go over is the little 2-page benchmarking that I handed out. So our firm does audits for probably about 85 cities and villages across the state. We're by far the largest municipal auditor in the state. So what we do with all that data is we split it up in different population groups and then compare you to different villages your size. So you're gonna be in the 200 to 1,000 population group. The average population in that group is 458. Our population is 595, so we're a little bit on the larger side. When you look at the valuation, the average valuation for villages in that group is about 33 million. Ours is 26.7 million. On a per capita basis or per person in town, the average valuation is about 70,000. Ours is only 44,000. So our per capita basis, our valuation is going to be quite a bit lower than most communities, and that will come into play on some of the revenue here in a little bit. So number one, the unrestricted net position versus total net position basically tells us if this village has adequate resources to meet its day-to-day obligations and programs. When we look at the government-wide or the village as a whole, we recommend 35%. You guys are at 31% this year, up from 30% a year ago. So we're kind of right there with what we recommend. For the governmental activities, we recommend 25%. You guys are at 10.7 this year, up from 9.8% a year ago. So it looks low, but it's just a matter of the fact that we do have a lot of street cash. We have a lot of TIF funds in that CDA. When we actually look at the general fund, it has really good cash reserves. So even though we're only at 10.7%, we're still in good shape. And we consider that we just have so much restricted cash that kind of just pushes that number down. For the business type activities, for the utility funds, we recommend 40%. You're at 97.7 this year, and 94% a year ago. So we're in great shape there. Number two looks at the top three sources of revenue for just the governmental activities. The typical city or village your size is getting about $317 in property tax revenue per capita. We're at $214 this year. A year ago we were at $220. So because our valuation is so much lower, it's just going to be hard for us to generate that same property tax revenue. The sales tax revenue, the average is $235. This year we were at $245. A year ago we were $177. Go back to 2023, we're $198. So we had a really big increase in the sales tax revenue this year, but we're actually above average on that. And then the last one is the state allocation. The average is $251 per capita. We're at $308, up from $274 a year ago. So we're above average, and that's going to be due to the fact when we look at number three in the state allocations, that equalization. The average per capita on that is about $61. We're at $111. So that equalization is basically state aid to kind of equalize property taxes. There's a formula based on valuation, population, and your tax levy. So because our valuation is going to be quite a bit lower, we're going to qualify for more aid. So like I said, the average village gets $61, we're up at $111. And above that, the highway allocation, the average is $190 per capita, we're at $173, basically the same as a year ago. So our street funding is just a little bit below average. Number four looks at the governmental spending in the general fund. So this excludes any capital outlays, so it's just going to be operating expenses. For the admin, the average is about $327 per capita. We're at $275 this year. A year ago, we were at $304, so our costs have come down a little bit, and we're actually still below average on that. Law enforcement, the average is 69, we're way below that at 16. Fire, the average is 47, we're at $33 this year. A year ago, we were at 32, so we've been pretty consistent on that. Rescue, the average is 30, we're just below that at 26. A year ago, we were at $25 per capita. Library, the average is 69. This year, we were at $43. A year ago, we were at 81. 23, we're at 99. So we kind of cut that budget. And you can see that our spending on the library is going to be below average. Park and Rec, the average is $67 per capita, and we're at 9. Basically, we just don't have the swimming pool, the parks a lot of villages have. Number 5, looks at the outstanding geo debt compared to your valuation. Basically tells us if the village has too much debt. So anything below 3% is going to be excellent. We're at 1.5, so we're in the excellent category on that. Number 6, when we compare the unassigned fund balance and the general fund back to the expenditures, we recommend having 30%. That gives us an idea if the general fund has enough resources to meet its day-to-day obligations and programs. So we recommend 30%. We're at 116 this year, up from 42% a year ago. We've got really good cash reserves in the general fund. Number 7, the street cash reserve. We recommend having 12 months of operating expenses reserved in the street fund. This year you're at 75 months, up from 58 months a year ago. You go back to 21, we were at 8 months. We've really built some really good cash reserves. The 75-month reserve is probably, will guarantee it's the most street cash that I've seen out of the 25 lots that I do personally. So like I said, we have tremendous reserves in the street. Probably to the point where we need to think about what we're gonna do with tax. All of our sales tax revenue goes to streets. So there's really no point in just accumulating that. So if there's work that needs to be done on the streets, we need to be thinking about probably getting that started. Number 8, looks at the property tax levies. So the typical village your size will have a 39-cent general levy plus an 8-cent debt service levy, so a total of 47 cents. We've got a general levy of 49.3 and then no debt service levy. So on the total, our property tax levy is going to be about 2.5 cents higher than the typical village our size. Number 9 doesn't apply because we don't have capital assets recorded for you guys. So number 10, there's the utility rates. When we compare the operating income back to the total utility charges, we recommend a 15% return. That return should allow for cash flow for operations, equipment replacement, and debt service. This year, the electric funds was 15.1. A year ago, it was a negative 5.9. 23, we're at 4.2. So we've seen a lot of improvement in the electric fund to the point where it's right on what we would recommend. Water this year was a 39% return, and 24 was a 30.5. 23 was a 9% return. Go back to 22, we're actually a negative 7%. So we've seen a lot of improvement in the water fund. We're actually well above what we recommend, so we're in good shape there. The sewer fund this year was a 5.2% return. A year ago we were at 29.5. 23 we were at 11.4. This year we had a lot of repairs, which kind of pushed that number down to the 5%. We do have really good cash reserves in that sewer fund. I know you talked earlier that you're continuing to see more emergency repairs in that sewer. So I'm not saying we need to increase those rates, but because we do have the cash reserve, but if we continue to see a lot of repairs year after year, we probably need to take a look at those sewer rates. Number 11 looks at the debt coverage ratio. Basically tells us if our rates are set high enough to actually service the debt. Water doesn't pipe because it doesn't have any debt anymore. In the sewer fund, it should be at least 1.5. We're at 1.24 this year. So again, that was just a possible rate increase, but again, we had a lot of repairs this year. So it's kind of makes that number a little bit lower. And then the last one, number 12, looks at the cash reserves. For the general fund, we recommend having 120,000 of cash reserves for operations. You guys have 316,000 this year, up from 193,000 a year ago. Big increase this year. We're well above what we recommend, so we have really good reserves there. For the business hub activities, we recommend 385,000 for operations, 22,000 restricted. We still have a little bit of our funds that we haven't spent. So total about just over 400,000. We've got 976,000, up from 801,000 a year ago. You can see in 22 we were at 650,000, so we've added over 300,000 of cash reserves in the electric fund over the last 4 years. Really good reserves. That's where on the sewer fund, I'm hesitant to tell you the increase in rates. We're at 5% returns here just because we do have a really good cash reserve, and it's still generating pretty decent cash flow wise. Like I said, across the board, really good cash reserves, all getting good. They probably just that sewer fund to continue to see a lot of repairs in that each year. We probably need to look at those rates, but as of right now, I think they're probably fine. Any questions?
Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Michael. Any questions, Sonia? Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You did.
Approve or disapprove AMGL Village of Greenwood.
I'll make a motion to approve AMGL Village Agreement audit.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call Donna and Stephanie.
Aye.
Tanya?
Aye.
Approve or disapprove claims list A. I'll make a motion to approve claims list A. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Except for the green light roof.
Except,
I will abstain from the green, might be able to get everything else. I would,
So you're, except for a green light, right?
yes.
Okay. Tanya?
Aye.
Okay, Stephanie? Approve or disapprove Accent Electric small animal permit. We got enough room according to that map. Can we have it in Village Square?
What was the limit in there? So within the ordinance of it. Seems like that's more.
See, 6 chickens and
Is it
Two
only
dozen.
5 chicken? Is it? It is only 5 for the ordinance.
I don't know, but according to this, I don't think there's enough square footage.
Did anybody find anything about if they can have it in that
It's
zone?
only square foot per bird.
Yeah.
They only got 32 square feet.
Is there anything that says that they can have it in that zone?
Yeah, I think he was asking because that's town square.
I couldn't find anything.
I can't find it in there either. But I don't think there's enough square footage according to what they're wanting. What's it say per square foot per bird?
You have that ordinance pulled up too?
No, I can do it.
That was one thing I was gonna do.
You want a section as well?
Yeah, I think we have one on Village Square.
Is it under? It's under tax or livestock. Go under, I think, under community, and then forms. And then you see.
Oh, under community.
I'm trying to find. Someone else since I looked at it. Someone else since I looked at it.
It's 256 square feet. But you gotta take 4 by 8 foot out there.
Two 250 by 8, that's 32.
16 by 16 is 256 square feet, but you gotta take 32 square feet out of that.
I thought it was 30, you said 32 square feet per animal.
Is that what it is?
And if it's, well, that's what you mentioned, you thought it wasn't.
No.
If that's the case, 256 is enough.
What I'm saying is the coop is 4 by 8, that's 32 square feet.
Oh, okay.
But the whole pen is 16 by 16. That's 256. So you gotta take that 32 square feet out of there. But I don't know what the ordinance says per animal, how many square feet.
This says, the pen for every chicken kept within the village shall confine the animal to the designated area and be not less than 50 square feet for each such animal kept.
50?
50.
Ain't got enough. So,
When the new ordinance book comes out, if that has lessened, then they can reapply if it falls within that. I don't know if it doesn't.
I don't know if they could even have one in Village.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we can figure that out.
But as of right now, they can't, because they got 8 animals.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to disapprove the Axon Electric small animal permit at this time.
For a second,
I'll second.
we'll call Stephanie. Tanya?
Aye.
Donna. Approve or disapprove, $39 a ton, crusher run rock, delivered from fuel truck. Jimmy needs rock,
It says he needs 2 loads, he said fine, but 2 loads of the red, but 1 larger. Whatever that means,
1 large one and 2 small,
that's what he said.
that's 3.
He's getting, how many times?
Just based it off 31 ton, I mean, it's a guess, so it'll be less than that, so total will be 3627.
So I'll make a motion to approve the crushed rock from Beal Trucking not to exceed 3,800.
That worked.
I'll second.
Roll call, Donna, Tanya.
Aye.
Stephanie.
Aye.
Discussion possible action to pick up LAS poles. I mean, is that what we really want? The telephone pole or the metal pole, I guess? And who's gonna pick them up?
Are there any inputs since it's for the park?
What is it? I mean, I assume for the lights. Okay.
We haven't even discussed lights, so
This is the first time I've heard.
you're
it.
talking over $100,000 for lights.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't know what these poles are for, so,
I think it's supposed to be for lights.
Yeah, it just says poles with the wall.
okay. Who's gonna be with it?
Well,
Kevin.
Kevin and
Okay.
Elias said that they have some they're getting ready to get rid of, and it's like the middle of May, and it's like you come and get them somehow with a 53-foot truck, which we don't have, get those poles so we can use them over there, but
I would say if we don't know what type of lights we're getting, we don't know what kind of poles we need, so we should.
But you just can't put any kind of light on
Right.
wood pole.
And you don't want it to look terrible when you spend all that money.
You're in the same situation you have now, anyway, right? Like, cause that's part of the problem with the existing lights is that the wood is,
It falls apart.
yeah. And they just sit there, so.
Yeah, how long are we gonna store them?
Yeah.
Right.
Right, where are we gonna store them?
Right.
How can we get them?
I mean, it's a good gesture, but
Right,
If
We-
we were ready for it.
we ain't to that. I mean, if we were close to that, I'd say, yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's something to consider, but I don't think at this time that we need to go further with that. We'll be in the motion next, it's just a discussion.
Okay, approve or disapprove library's request to remove light fixtures from the storage area that was formerly the men's restroom. Do the lights work now?
The particular light is what used to be, I think, a sink light, and
Well, why do we want to remove it?
what we would like to do is either get a bid to put in shelves in there, either build or put a shelving unit in there, but
And you're also
Was it
sharing
Jim?
that with Park and Rec, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Jimmy was afraid that if we put a shelf in there regardless, that light would be in the way.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna do something with the wire if they're hot, so we've got to either terminate the wire or put a box in there. I mean,
I mean, it's just, it's a light that's on the wall. Yeah.
Sticky
It's
out.
probably been there for like 60 years.
I mean,
And it has
if it's not being used, then
It's not,
obviously they can just take it down.
there's a little mirror too. Anything.
I think we can take it down. I don't think it'll be that big of an issue.
So they don't use that light at all?
No, it's the one that just sits on the wall. And then they can build shelves and those guys can have some more storage.
But we'll have to have, like I said, we'll have to have, make sure it ain't a hot wire.
That's why we put it in this, too, we would have to hire somebody, get a bid or whatever.
We don't really gotta hire anybody, we got maintenance guys.
Well, that's what I mean, you know, those guys do it, whatever.
Alright,
Can they just put a work order in for that?
And to do that, we just get a form,
Isn't there an online thing now, there's the
Yeah.
QR code?
right out, there's a QR code
QR
outside the
code.
office, says Green Light Realty.
and they'll get to it when they can, cause it ain't a high priority thing.
Sure.
And then if we wanna have shelves built, like, not exactly like that, but, Jimmy suggested, instead of buying something from Menards, he suggested we have some built against that back wall. And
I'll just put another work order in for that, and then,
Put dimensions.
and then just show them what you want, or tell them what you want.
okay.
They'll get to it, obviously on a slow day,
Sure. Yeah.
so.
We'll take any day. Waiting for a long time, so.
Just make sure you put dimensions, otherwise he's gonna be asking you, what do you
Right.
want? How do you want it to look? How big do you want it?
Right, so, I don't think we need to vote on that, so,
Cause we don't have pricing.
no, we're. Number 8, approve or disapprove pony ride invoice not to exceed $1,125.
Do you know how much you guys have spent so far of like the 40 some
Yeah.
hundred that you have?
I'll let you get into it at the moment, but it is something we're keeping track of. We are going to, we're in the process of gaining sponsorships as well. But for the pony rides, the gentleman who does this, he has not raised his prices with us in years, so he's great to work with.
I'll make a motion to approve the pony ride not to exceed $1,125. For second,
I'll second.
roll call, Stephanie.
Aye.
Don, aye. Tanya.
Aye.
Approve or disapprove additional mulch for the playground structure.
Don't you usually do a couple loads?
Usually we do a couple of those. We'll just tell them to do, start with 2, then they can always ask for more. I'll make a motion to approve 2 loads of mulch for the playground structure. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Stephanie.
Aye.
Don, aye. Tanya.
Aye.
Approve, disapprove Greenwood's Fun Days Friends of Library activity. For kids.
Danny, you have all the information you need on that.
So Sherry with Friends of the Library did confirm that they have the volunteers that they need to be able to post at the park and then also do their activities down here in front of the community center, so we're comfortable moving forward.
We're just gonna do the sand art, I think, and not another thing, is what she told me at the meeting on Saturday. And then also the drinks.
I'll make a motion to approve Greenwood Fun Day event Friends of the Library Kids Activities.
I'll
second.
Let that point there.
Yeah, don't matter. Roll call, Don, aye. Tanya.
Aye.
Stephanie.
Aye.
Approve, disapprove Greenwood Fun Day event, Greenwood Christian Church pancake feed.
That's at the fire station.
Thank you, Tanya, for helping.
I got it all sorted. I'll be there when you go. I'll make a motion to approve the Greenwood Fun Day event, Greenwood Christian Church pancake feed for.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Stephanie.
Aye.
Tanya.
Aye.
Don, aye. Approve or disapprove Greenwood Fun Day Truck Tavern Tom Coffee of West Omaha.
I'll make a motion to approve Greenwood Fun Day food truck Ellen Tom's Coffee of West Omaha.
I'll second.
Roll call, Don, aye. Stephanie.
Aye.
Tanya.
Aye.
Approve or disapprove Greenwood Fun Day's truck Turtle Power Pizza LLC.
I'll make a motion to approve Greenwood Fun Day truck Turtle Powered Pizza LLC.
I'll second.
Roll call, Tanya.
Aye.
Stephanie.
Aye.
Approve or disapprove Greenwood's Fun Day's truck Kona Ice of 3 Rivers.
I'll make a motion to approve Greenwood Fun Day food truck Kona Ice and 3 Rivers.
For a second.
I'll second.
Roll call, Stephanie.
Aye.
Don, aye. Tanya.
Aye.
Any comments or questions, Stephanie?
Please, if you know, when you are the person putting the stuff in the sewer, either tell us who it is or stop doing it. You're costing so much money to homeowners in the village. It's ridiculous and completely absurd and rude. Please stop.
I was gonna say the same thing. Anything else?
No.
Tanya?
And just thank all the volunteers and the maintenance crew. They're doing a great job. And I know it's gonna be a long season with all the wet weather.
Remember Saturday is cleanup day here in Greenwood, 7 to 11, I think it is. And everybody's dumping in the dumpsters as of right now, don't do it. It's not till Saturday. Get caught, you'll be prosecuted. It's not to be done until Saturday.
I think Tom even put that.
We've got a full dumpster open
I
right
put
now.
a nice thing from
So-
the village
I
page.
saw it,
Yeah.
yeah, the Dropbox.
And we're gonna start snaking, cameron the sewers, we're gonna try to figure out who done these 2 items, which one, it backed up in somebody's residence. And it's cost thousands of dollars.
And you can be held liable if
And-
they take you to court.
And we can shut your water and sewer off if people do not stop. And then we had another one on the other end of town, Sunday, so it's not a laughing matter. And if we catch them, it's gonna be not very pretty, so.
Items or like groups?
They're stuffing blue shop rags down, obviously their toilet or some way into the sewer system, and it's plugging up the sewers.
And they can trace it just because there's only so many that go into.
So it's sticking out of your sewer line. If we camera it, it's not gonna be good, so. And the one we did Sunday, we just cleaned out 6 months ago. So, not good. So anyway, we can adjourn at 7:36.